ahead.
I was gonna say, we can go ahead and get started. Everyone's got a lot going on. We all know that. So thank you to Annie and Ito for coming today. And I want to introduce to you Kim Beeler, who is the assistant director at the University Career Center, and she's also a career coach. And she's going to talk a little bit today just about personal branding and getting your LinkedIn profile ready, and just making sure that you are projecting yourself in digital spaces in a way that you want employers to see you. So I will hand it over to Kim.
Perfect. Okay, well, thanks for joining. You guys are the Lone Rangers, the brave ones. So this is nice. It's good to see you. What this means for me, and hopefully for you, is that we can make this very personal. So stop me if you have questions or you think, oh yeah, I already know that. Let's talk about this. Let's make this really relevant for you all. But again, we're going to talk about personal branding in LinkedIn, and basically defining your personal brand, why it's important, creating your brand, and then maintaining it. Those are really the goals of this short presentation. And again, stop me anytime if you have questions. Okay, so what do you think of when you see this? Like, Annie, what do you think of?
I mean, McDonald's fast food road trips for me, but
yeah, what about you?
Big Macs.
Big Macs. I always think of the fast, friendly service. The little dun 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 plays in my head, right? You hear all that, and the golden arches. Do you think McDonald's does a good job branding themselves? Yeah, I do too. What about this guy? What do you think about when you see the gecko?
You'd save 15% or more.
That's exactly what I wanted you to say, right? Yes, you got to love the Geico commercials, right? Well, corporate branding is a lot like personal branding in that it defines who you are and how you want others to see you. So basically, if you get the definition of personal branding, it's the sum of all experiences you have when people engage with you. So everyone has a brand, okay? Everybody has a brand, and the people you're interacting with are assigning you value based on what they believe your brand to be, okay? It helps define who you are to other people and how and how you want them to view you. So when it's done well, it'll help you with your colleagues, it helps you with your professors, with your future employers, okay, of who you hope to be. So for instance, if you look at this celebrity, okay, ready? Ta-da! We all know who this person is, right? Kim Kardashian. I'm afraid to ask what comes to mind when you think of Kim Kardashian, but well, in fact, what do you think of, Annie, when you see Kim Kardashian?
like reality TV and that whole
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
of it.
Reality TV. I think of her. Wasn't she the one in the hotel room with the diamond or something that got broken into overseas, right? Well, recently, I think
she like lost it in the ocean.
She what?
I think she like lost it in the ocean, but yeah, very much the dramatic like.
Okay, so she defines herself really, and if you think about on TV, on magazines, do you think her brand is pretty consistent? In the newspapers, I think when you have a really good idea of what she is and what she stands for. Recently, though, she's been trying to get into law school and do law, and be an advocate. So she's kind of changing her personal brand a little bit. But if you had to define your brand today, okay, how would you describe yourself? Okay, think about how others would describe you. So knowing that, you got to know what defines your personal brand. So these are the factors that really determine your personal brand. It is determined by how you act professionally and socially, which means online, including your personal style. It's defined by the people you interact with. through interactions, people start to understand your values, your strength, your skills, and your direction, and it really helps define your brand. And then finally, all the experiences that you participate in, those are your activities. They help illustrate to others who you are and who you want to be. So for instance, if you want to be known as a leader, do you act like a leader, both in the classroom, at your internship, in whatever setting you're in? Do you connect with other leaders on your social media platforms? Do you follow leaders? Think about the activities that you have. Are you just a member of a club, or are you actual leader of a club, a VP, or have a leadership role in it? All these factors really help determine your personal brand. So you really got to think about that in when you start creating your own brand. So personal branding is not about self-promoting. People always say, oh, I've got to get on LinkedIn, I got to be on social media and start promoting myself. It's actually more about education management. Why is that? Because we are the CEOs of our own brand. It's what we put out there and how others view us that determine our brand, right? So we get to choose who we interact with, what activities we are involved in, okay? And the people that we connect with. And remember that as you gain new experiences, interact with new people, and you develop new skills and strengths, you will control your brand, okay? You'll create that. So how do you do that? You should manage your personal brand by making sure it's consistent on all platforms. This is a true story. Not last spring, it was last fall. I was in a Comms 330 class, and one of the people told me that the student had a great professional job background. She had great internships, a lot of great portfolio, but she had some social media no-nos that prohibited her from getting a job for a while, okay? You wanna make sure that you're controlling your brand by updating your bio on social media to accurately reflect all those skills and sets and interests and goals that you have. I recommend that you use Google Alerts on yourself so that when your name is used or it pops up, you know exactly what's happening. Look at your privacy settings as well. Good privacy settings actually help ensure that you have control over what people are seeing, right? And when you do this, you maintain and manage your brand. It gives you control, which is really the key when you're job searching, right? The last thing you want is to have this great portfolio, you worked really hard, and then how you are professionally is different than you are online and social media. And so the employers go, yeah, I don't think so. We've all heard those nightmare stories, right? Where they act this way and then they get on social media and they look like, let's see, how do you put it? Buffoon? I don't know. You know, they're shown partying and so forth. You don't want that brand to come out. This is your brand. You're the CEO. You've got to make sure and maintain it because no one else was. And this is super important because this is based as of 2018. I would venture it was a little higher. 70% of employers were using social media to screen candidates. They're looking at that. And look here, it says to evaluate a candidate's professionalism in terms of social conduct, to evaluate the candidate's fit into the culture, and to learn more about the qualifications. If your social media does not share the same brand as your professional brand, it's going to be really detrimental, right? So what I say is, here are all these different kinds of social media websites. If I asked you to open up your Twitter account, your Facebook account, your Instagram, your Snapchat, what would a future employer say about you? How would they evaluate you? You got to think about that. And if not good, you got to get out. Yeah, Ito.
Sorry, I had a quick question. So when an employer does background checks, to what extent can they see your social media account if it's private, for example? Like if your Instagram is private or, you know, your Facebook, kind of need to be friends with the person to see things.
Yeah, you know, I think that's a great question. And I think privacy settings help a lot. they do block a lot. However, as you know, if I'm friends with, if I post something and I'm friends with Whitney, then people who know Whitney can maybe also see things. You know, you've all commented and then suddenly you get everybody's comment. They may not be able to see the whole picture. I mean, go in and dive deep since like into your LinkedIn, but they'll be able to see some, and nothing is really private. I mean, truthfully, right? I think that's why they created some of those Snapchat stories that erase right after you see them, because they know that. So if you are concerned about that, I would definitely put it on block that privacy, and then just be really careful of what you post, and maybe go through and get some of rid of the evidence, because we all have it. I mean, come on, let's be truthful, right? Does that answer your question? Okay. So creating your personal brand, we're going to start focusing on how to create this. And one of the best ways is using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the Facebook for the professional world. Everyone should have a LinkedIn profile if you are working professionally. And I would venture that it's extremely important in design for design students, because you're able to show your work there, you're able to join different groups, talk, so forth. So it's really important. So let's talk about this. Your LinkedIn profile should be different than your resume. I work with students to help them with their LinkedIn profile. And just to let you know, there are tons of student LinkedIn tutorials online that will help you create the best LinkedIn profile possible. But what happens is I get their information and it sounds exactly like a resume. It's almost like they've just regurgitated. You can actually put your resume in LinkedIn. You can upload a document, but your LinkedIn profile can actually provide more information that your resume doesn't, okay? It's all about keywords and telling your story that will display your expertise and increase your credibility and pretty much enhance your branding message. Okay, so if you looked at this, I'm a Jayhawk, and you had to see just based on the experience and the headline and the picture, you probably determined that she's more than likely a marketing professional, right? Marketing, advertising, promotions. If you look at her bullet points that she has, her creative marketing promotion student, okay, there it is, right there, it says. So I'm gonna talk about each of these little sections, because you want, when you look at that LinkedIn profile, to scream out, I'm a design student. Are you both design, right? Is there a particular area? Annie, you're on mute.
We're both architecture.
Oh, both architecture. Okay, perfect. You'll love the next slide then. But so you wanted to scream out that I am a hardworking architecture student that's ready to, future architect, right? You don't just want it to say architecture student. So let's talk about how to do that. The first thing you want to do is look at your picture in the background. Don't keep that boring networking light blue thing that you see on most of the default. Use a picture that really describes who you are or kind of illustrates. If you look down here, this is an architect. How cool is this picture? Doesn't that scream, I'm in architecture? This is a science one. Here's Garmin, knowing the world. It's really important. It changes the look of your whole profile if you can get a really cool picture. So do you all know how to do that? You go to the LinkedIn, hit the pencil of the picture, and you can edit it. So if you don't have one, you can pick a default one, but I would highly recommend, and maybe there's something that maybe the School of Architecture at KU, or maybe a project that you've done, or a client you work for, I don't know, you'll have to decide for yourself, but picture and background is huge. Then the headline, you wanna make sure it's engaging, because when you post your LinkedIn profile, they're gonna see your picture with the background and your title. So you'd wanna say something, instead of saying student at the University of Kansas, honor student seeking marketing position. Something that's going to be really grab their attention. I love this. Design professional, entrepreneur, and educator, bridging architecture and education and changing a way children learn. That sends a lot. It sends a really strong branding message that's really cool. Have you guys created your headline yet? Do you have LinkedIn profiles yet? Yes. Annie, do you? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay. So the About section of LinkedIn. This includes things you want recruiters and hiring managers to know about you. Okay. Start with a really catchy opening statement. I help students navigate the twists and turns of careers. Okay. Don't be afraid to inject some personality. This also kind of serves a little bit as a writing sample. You can add context to the story by including videos, presentations, links to blogs, posts, or even articles you've written or projects that you've worked on in architecture. You can upload the resume as well. Brag about your accomplishments and be sure to include terms that recruiters might plug into a search bar. Okay? So technical skills, if you want, job titles, industry keywords, those will really increase your visibility, and visibility is a huge part of your brand. Okay? And then keep in mind that by default, LinkedIn only shows the first 3 lines usually of your profile summary. So you want to make sure that it's really catchy and you want them to do more. That turns out to be anywhere from 290 to 300 and some characters. So take your time and really focus on what you want to say, because you want those first few lines to really stand out. Okay.
Hey, Kim, I think Kate has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, hi, Kate.
Hi. I was wondering what the about, is that always written in first person?
Yes, great question. That's the beauty of your, and Kate, we've met before, I think, right? Have we met before?
Probably.
I think we have.
Yes.
Yes, really good to see you. That is an excellent question. And that's the difference between your resume and your LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn can be a lot more casual, a lot more laid back, and really allows you to show your personality. So first person is absolutely fine. Great question. So the experience section should include job titles, your date ranges, basic information about your experiences. But what I see a lot of times is people don't put a little profile on. They don't explain what it is. And this is really important for you all who are just coming out of architecture, where you don't have any professional full-time jobs, right? You have great internships and so forth, but you don't have full-time jobs. And so you want to explain what you did in your projects, in your internships, okay? Use really strong action words when you're doing creative, managed, avoid these things like responsible for. You want to talk about a snooze fest for readers, use responsible for. Nobody wants to read that. Also use correct terms. So if you did it in the past, put it in the past. If you did it in the present, do it in the present. If you look at the, if you put in the icon of the place that you worked, employers can actually click on that and then see that company. But you can see they've included some cool things here, okay? So really, I've seen people put bullet points, and that's fine too. And that's similar to your resume, but you do a little, it's a little more formal, but you can do it as bullet points as well. And actually I recommend that for just coming out of school. Okay, articles and identity activity. It shows all the recent posts you shared and changes you've made to your profile. So it also determines the type of content that will be displayed on your LinkedIn feed, and your activity is visible to other members. So just keep that in mind depending on your settings, okay? But here you can share articles to others, and it really shows your interest in the industry, and it helps you stay up to date. So if you've got a bunch of things on interesting articles about architecture, or the future of architecture, or how architecture firms are dealing with the COVID-19 stuff. Any of those kinds of articles that you want to put on, it really shows that you're engaged in the industry. People want to hire, first of all, competent people, right? That can do the job. They want to hire friendly people, and they want to hire people that are knowledgeable about the industry as well. And that's important. Okay, so then skills and endorsements. This is such an easy thing that you can do. Put in your skills, and you can actually, I was watching a tutorial, it was last fall, that talked about how you can you can rearrange the importance of your skills. And if you're looking for a job in a particular area, a particular firm, you can actually move up different skills so they see them first. But get some endorsements. Get some endorsements from your professors, from your people that you work with. There's nothing better than a recommendation. In fact, a lot of jobs are done through networking, right? And so if I see on there that Whitney, you put down your somebody that endorses you from a job that you worked at, I think, oh wait, I know that person. That's fantastic. Or what did they say about her? Oh, she was a really hard worker. Oh, that's great. So make sure that you have skills and endorsements, which takes me into the recommendations. Okay. These are examples of both written and received LinkedIn recommendations. You want to find people that are going to say great things about you. So use your network. Okay. If you don't have a network, I can show you at the end of this presentation how to find some people, which is really important. But recommendations are different than skill endorsements because you will actually have to ask somebody to recommend you. The skills and the endorsements, you'll write that down and you can ask people to endorse you. But here you have to ask people to write you recommendations. Okay. Try to obtain at least 3 recommendations, either from professors, department heads, people who supervised you is always a great one. Something to do with work-related experience. You don't want your friends saying, hey, I really recommend Kim Beeler. She's really great. I mean, you want people who are in the professional world to recommend you. This is the thing that a lot of students, and I see it on resumes as well, students don't like to brag about themselves, right? Well, I don't want to come across as pompous or really braggy. Okay, here's the bottom line. There's a really great way to do it, but if you don't boast about yourself, other people are boasting about themselves and they're going to get the job, right? The best prediction of future performance is past. So if you were awarded an award for an architecture project, or you were granted a certain kind of scholarship or whatever, put that down. They want to hire competent people. Put down some of your courses. If you are looking, you know that you need a special skill in something and maybe you went and got a certification in it or took some additional business courses that might be helpful when you're looking for a job, put those down in there. It makes you very well-rounded. But focus on your accomplishments and use here. I would even recommend that you use action verbs and quantify your results with numbers, such as increased social media by 40% or raised $10,000 for United Way during Rock Chalk Review, something like that, right? So include the accomplishments. And then interest. This is really cool too. Follow companies that you're interested in, especially if you want to work somewhere, right? If there's an architecture firm in Kansas City or in Chicago that you really follow them, join groups. You can do that by typing in the search bar your industry that you're interested in, and it'll pull up a list of groups that you want to join, okay? You can make comments on some of these interests. If somebody pulls up, if you're following them, and this architecture firm just talks about that they just finished a multi-billion-dollar project, you can make comment, you can like all these different things, and suddenly like, well, who is this Annie? She's really involved in our website, and she's really following us and so forth. It generates some interest, right?
Kate, did you have another question?
Oh,
Yes.
Sorry.
I was gonna ask about the accomplishments. Is that strictly architecture?
no, it doesn't. I would put down anything that was relevant to your professional working world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, great question. Okay. That's pretty much what I have here. I just put up a really good, I love this one. He's a senior recruiter at Shippo, and I love his background picture. I love, he said, I find great people and find them great careers. This all starts with conversation. We'll find it together and cover the values, personal aspirations. I mean, this is a great intro. If you can get a really strong LinkedIn profile, it really will entice future employers. If nothing else, it won't hurt you, right? It won't hurt you. If you've got a really lame LinkedIn profile, your social media is okay, you've got some issues, it's going to hurt you. But a good profile is really going to help your personal brand. And I can't tell you if are you all seniors? What year? Seniors? It's not too late. Start doing this now. You know, start, if you haven't made any connections with people, if you need, you can start this now. You've got the rest of the semester and next semester to start really focusing on your brand. And I can show you a couple places to find some networking if you'd like. I don't know what we have time for, but does anybody have any questions about the LinkedIn or personal branding?
I had a question, not specific to sort of the setup or the branding, but my professor has been setting up these sort of mentor sessions for us this semester, which has been great to sort of connect with professionals. But besides that, what is like a good way to sort of reach out to someone and start making that connection so that when you do apply for a job at that firm or that company, that it actually is personal and, you know, you can say, hey, I know this person or whatever?
Exactly. Great question. I went to a summer, I don't know, it was a seminar session. It was over lunch in Kansas City with a really well-known marketing expert in Kansas City. And I asked her about networking. And I said, what is your biggest pet peeve for students who do networking? And she says, one, they ask for a job. And two, they don't have any questions when they come to me. They just show up and don't have questions and they say, I need a job. The key to successful networking and reaching out is to do it before you need the job. So right now, I would even say over winter break, and I'll tell you about a couple opportunities, reach out to them and just say that you're trying to, you'll be graduating in May and you're trying to figure out what your job target focus might be. And you had some questions about XYZ. You're not asking them for the job. You're asking them for advice. It's called an informational interview. And I think the best way to reach out, and I can show you a site that we've got information, is to email them, connect with them on LinkedIn. Now realize that LinkedIn only allows a certain number of characters. So sometimes it's really helpful to go to the website of the company and see if you can do an email there and say, the best way to do that is to send them an email, say to them, you are a fifth-year senior in architecture. You saw their LinkedIn profile. You were really interested in their trajectory and wondered if they had some time to talk about their experiences, some advice that they might have as you go forward in the job search, some things, just getting their feedback. 9 times out of 10, people love to talk about themselves. Have you noticed that? I don't know, it's human nature. They love to talk about themselves. So most of the time, alumni are going to help you do that. And I want to show you a couple different places where you can do that, which I think is really cool. Let's see if I can find where this is. This is not what I want. This is really cool. Oops. All right, let me just open up a Google Doc. I mean, a Google. All right. All right, so there's 2 places you can go to start networking. Well, and let me show you this first, because you had said, how do you reach out to them? If you go down here, and this is our career website, career.ku.edu, and you go down to informational interviewing, you click on that, and it will give you some ideas and some tips for how to go about it, preparing your questions, staying in contact. You'll see here, there are some links to the KU mentoring platform, which is what I want to show you as well. Some videos about how to go about networking, strategies for successful job search. Really easy to find that out. Then you can click on KU mentoring. Let's see if it takes me right here. And have you guys used this before? Okay, this is fantastic. This is put out by the Alumni Association. They've got over 4,000 active alumni who have said to KU, we want to help students. We want to help current KU students. So they've created this hub where you can sign in, you tell them what your career interests are, where you want to live, what kinds of jobs you might be looking for. Then you can go to KU Connect. You click on this, and it allows you to search for alumni by location, major, industries, and then there's more filters. So say that you are interested in architecture. You can click on that, and there's 154 matches. So they have something to do with architecture. If you want to say Kansas City, you want to stay in Kansas City area, see what happens. There's 36. So you can see there's an architect, Sarah Dempster. Does anybody know Sarah? I don't know when she graduated. Okay, so you can click on that, and she's an architect, senior associate at Populous. She gives her background of her professional experience, her degree, and these are all the things that she said she would help with. Internships and job search strategies, resume or cover letter review, critique of resume. This is the industry that she's in. So all you have to do is say, okay, I'd like to message her. And they have 3 different templates you can use. I wouldn't copy and paste a template. I'd tweak it a little bit so it's a little more personal. But you could talk about career exploration, expanding your network, or reconnecting. Really easy to do. The other thing that's nice about it is you can see some of their trajectory and how they got there, and look at different companies as well. But this is an amazing way to do it. The other thing that I really find that's very helpful, and tell me if you can see this. The LinkedIn alumni tool. Do you know about this? Okay, this is I love this as well. The LinkedIn alumni tool allows you to search for alumni based on where they work, what their interests are, their major. Let me show you. You click on alumni. And here it is. There's 160,000 plus alumni. You can search by where they live, where they work, what they do, what they studied, what they're skilled at, and how you're connected. So you could actually go here and do, can you see this? Okay, architecture. This is going to be a huge number. 3,000, that's obviously too many. So say you want to go, where does everybody want to live? Let's say you want to work in Portland, right? Kind of a hot spot right now. They probably have some rebuilding to do, right? Okay, bad joke. All right. So, here are 40 alumni who have some connection to architecture in Portland. Okay, so you can see if there's any Matthew Primo, design Bassetti Architects. Talks about what they are, architectural designer. This is his profile. This is things he's done, his education from KU. He's got endorsements. It also helps you because you can kind of sheet and look at cool profiles that you like, and then try to almost copy a little bit, not word for word, obviously, but see how what groups they followed. Okay. So if you think, gosh, that would be a great, I know I want to move to Portland, then you send them a message, say, hey, I'm a KU student. I'm interested in the Portland area when I graduate. Wondered if you had some time to talk a little bit about your career, what I can do to increase my job search, maybe learn a little bit about how you went about finding a job in Portland, those kinds of things. You're not asking for a job, you're just asking for information. And you do that now so that when it comes time for May, you can reach back out to them after several connections and say, hey, Matthew, I so enjoyed our conversations. Thank you so much. I'm actually applying now. Please keep me in mind if you have anything. But if you just did that out of the blue, people would be like, what? Who is this guy, right? The difference between the mentoring platform and the alumni LinkedIn is a LinkedIn alumni, they're not expecting you to connect with them. Whereas at the mentoring site, they are willing and have already said, yes, I will connect with current Jayhawks. So you don't have to, the chances are greater that you'll get really good feedback quicker. That makes sense. Okay. Any other questions? Whitney, am I missing anything? Is this kind of what you wanted me to hit on?
I think this is great. And I will tell you guys too, you know, constantly I'm getting feedback from our alumni that they're willing to help. They want to be supportive of you, and they want you to reach out because they want to extend the experiences that they've had to make your jobs easier. And so take advantage of these different tools for sure.
Well, and the other thing is I will tell you, and this is just for graduating seniors, that we have been talking to seniors all semester long, actually all the time. That's what we do at the Career Centers, just trying to, and people are freaking out because it's COVID. They don't know who's hiring. They are stressed. They don't know. Look, Annie, you're starting to sweat. I can tell. You're agreeing with me or you've already landed a job and you're happy. I don't know. But anyway, they're stressed out. How do you start this process? It's overwhelming. And a lot of people will just get on Indeed and start looking. There is a much better way to do your job search. You got to target, you got to find connections, you got to have a great resume that target, and you got to have great interviewing skills. And so this winter, while you're all having a 5-month hiatus, what seems from KU, right? From December to, gosh, February 1st, we're going to have what's called winter boot camp. And each week we're going to focus on something different. The first week is going to be job search. The second is going to be resume cafe. And the third is going to be interviewing. And we're going to have employer engagement. We're going to have people from different industries talk about what they look for, what they recommend, some advice for job searching, what companies are hiring. We're also going to help you find connections on LinkedIn and networking, mentoring.ku. We're going to help you with a resume and actually have employers critique your resume. We are going to have mock interviews with different companies and industries. So you will be sent an invitation coming out. I think it'll be probably sometime in December. I know the promo goes out December 2nd, where you're encouraged to register. You don't have to do every single activity. You can pick and choose. We'll have a Teams website, a special events page where you can download special videos, download handouts that might be helpful that you can read online, and then sign up for employer engagement. So it's going to be cool. So be on the lookout for that because we are creating this program for people just like you. So.
Yeah, and I will just piggyback on that and just say, I think you all probably also received the email. Joe's going to host a town hall on Friday. So we're going to cover a little bit of this on Friday as well. But, we are doing our architecture career fair in February. And so just to reiterate that over the winter break is a really, really opportune time to get your portfolio ready and start researching those firms that you are really interested in, and being prepared for that February 23rd 23rd date, I believe it is. It will be a virtual fair this year, just, the circumstances, but that doesn't mean that employers are going to be any less interested in wanting to talk to you. So being prepared for that is the best thing that you can do.
And I can tell you a couple things on that, Rennie, is that we're finding that they want people to come on board. The engagement online from students right now is not as great as it is in person, and that's for obvious reasons. But don't miss this opportunity, because I think there'll actually be less students engaged, which is going to make you stand out even more. And if you can start connecting with these employers, if you know XYZ firm is coming, start now. So send them an email. Hey, I'm interested in doing an informational interview, so that when it comes time for the career fair, you've already met some of these people, and you can say, oh, so nice to meet you, Whitney. I actually spent some time talking with Annie Ringhofer, and she was telling me blah, 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 but I had well, that's impressive. You're connecting with people. And so the more you know in that firm and the more you've connected, the chances are higher that you might get employed by them. So I think it's a great opportunity. I would even start now, finding some connections and working on that profile and following some of those firms that you're interested in. And it's really going to help you. You don't want to wait until April. So, or even February, right? So. Has this been helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? Let me tell you, if you have any questions, let me see if I can put my, stop share here. I'll put my email in. Send me an email. If you want to set an appointment to talk about your LinkedIn profile or to look at resumes. I'm not great at looking at architecture portfolios. I think you've got experts for that, but I can help with that. Or if you need mock interviews before then, call this number or go online to hirejayhawks.com. You can go via our career.ku.edu website. If you do career.ku.edu, informational interview, it's either interview or interviews. It will take you right there. So feel free, reach out. I love talking with students, especially if I've already met them. So I'd love to hear from you. And hats off to you all. This is a killer hard program. So way to go. Way to go for making it 5th year. That's really great. You should feel good about that. A lot of hard work, a lot of hours, right? They don't call it the lighthouse for nothing.
Kim, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you to the 3 of you that took some time out of your days. I know that time is at a premium right now. So I hope that you found this useful. Just a reminder, there is one more of our Lunch and Learn this semester. It's on November 23rd. And it's really going to be about strategies on ending the semester successfully, remotely, getting your projects done and motivation and stuff like that. So there'll be reminders, but if you're able, you should definitely jump on. And I hope to see all of you soon.
Okay. See you guys. Bye, Whitney.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It was fun.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care, everybody.